Hello, Uganda. Good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Hotseat on 933 KFM. I welcome you, our listeners, across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. My name is Patrick Kamara. Tonight, we shed a light on the State of the Nation address, because the President of the Republic of Uganda was today giving the State of the Nation address at the Kololo Ceremonial Ground, and this address for the year 2025. It is something he does yearly, as mandated by the Constitution, to brief Ugandans on how the country is on many aspects, on the economy, on security, on education, and others, just to bring them to speed on where we are. And the President seems to be in a buoyant mood. He says the economy is moving well, security seems to be okay, and he's very optimistic. He gave a very optimistic kind of State of the Nation address. My guests this evening, I have two guests. One who has already arrived in the studio is a budget expert and financial advisor, Mr. Jarvis Atwine. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara, for welcoming me to KFM. My first time to be here. It was warm welcoming. We are enjoying the coffee made in Uganda.
Thank you.
I encourage everyone to do buy Uganda, build Uganda.
Thank you, Jarvis. We shall also be joined by another development consultant, Dr. Paul Chalimpa. But before I even ask any question to Jarvis, it's important that we refresh your mind. For some of you, maybe you never heard the speech, or probably you had and you want to know more. So I'm going to ask my producer, Mr. Stephen Mbide, to give us about a clip of about 2.5 minutes, so that we catch up what the President said on matters of economy, and then I can tap the brains of these two gentlemen on what they make of the President's presentation. Mr. Mbide, sir.
We are soon finalizing the construction of the 1,443 East African crude oil pipeline from Burisa. This East African crude pipeline will take our crude oil to the international market. The construction of the standard gauge railway, which I launched last year, is soon starting, and we have signed a memorandum of understanding with Alpha BNP Investment Group of the United Arab Emirates to start the construction of the oil refinery in Hoima. Many other projects in roads, energy, ICT, schools, hospitals, and agriculture have continued to be implemented despite the World Bank and the USA suspending new financing to Uganda. Our economy remains strong and resilient. It was recently ranked 7th by the International Monetary Fund among the fastest growing economies of the whole world. Economic growth is projected at 6.3% this financial year. It is projected to grow faster when commercial production of oil and gas starts next year. This growth will translate into higher household incomes. The latest National Housing Survey report shows that the share of Ugandans living below national poverty line has fallen to 16% from 20% 4 years ago. With the continued implementation of the PDM, we are on track to completely wipe out poverty in the near future. By the end of this financial year, in June 2025, shilling 3.3 trillion will have been provided to the parish development model. I have interacted with some of the beneficiaries of the PDM funds who have used them to start enterprises in food crops, farming, goat keeping, piggery, beekeeping, etc. The total export earnings of goods and services reached US dollars 11.81 billion by March 2025. The prices of consumer goods and services have remained low.
All right, that was the President of the Republic of Uganda giving the State of the Nation address at the ceremonial grounds in Kololo. We just picked it out. Of course, the speech was much longer. So you can actually see, Jarvis, a president who is very buoyant, a president who is very confident, and a speech that is very optimistic. Your take?
Wow. Thank you, Kamara. On paper, when you listen to the president and you are not a Ugandan, you don't drive on our roads. while going to Fort Portal. You don't see how long it has taken. It takes you every day to reach at KFM from Serena. You don't look at the water, the safety of water we consume right from our villages, even to some of the suburbs. I stay in Nansana municipality, and where I stay, people dig their own wells to get water. When I look at the state of the nation, I look at our hospitals. We had the justice of the High Court, the Supreme Court, complaining about the state of Mulago, a specialized hospital. We look at very many infrastructure challenges. My Prime Minister launched a good road of Nakauka, and the President shockingly was talking about it to say that road is going to be worked on. I'm going to look for further funding. This was a road that was launched, meaning it's supposed to be constructed. For me, I feel the model, the speech that the President gives, it sweetens the ears, but practically it kills my soul.
But it is a fact that they are building one of the longest pipeline, and construction is underway from Hoima to Tanga in Tanzania, and it's a fact that brings in foreign direct money. It's a fact they have signed a construction agreement with the United States Arab Emirates to build a refinery. It's a fact that he has launched the standard gauge railway. I suppose it's a fact also that the IMF has ranked Uganda to grow, at 6.7%, the seventh fastest growing economy in the world.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Mr. Kamara, I'm happy that you are bringing out these projections. Mm-hmm. And these are projections. We are looking at the practical bit of it. We are talking together about fuel prices. Mr. President talked about how he removed middlemen from transacting on fuel. They were making the fuel prices on the pump higher. Right now, fuel is back at 5,660 shillings. What could be the cause? Even when the middlemen were removed, I thought fuel would actually be going down with the projections of having our own, making it simpler. The kilogram of sugar 4 months ago was at 3.8. Now we are buying it at 4.5. The rice that we grow here and the one that comes from Tanzania, we buy it close between 4,500 to 5,000. I'm talking about even the price of tomato that we even import. Some tomatoes, frankly, they are even being imported from Kenya. 500 shillings per tomato in a market. Quite worrying. We are talking about people in homesteads that we are talking about bringing in parish development model. They don't have food. Immediately they get this money to practice farming. They end up going to buy food, stock, posho, and beans for the family to survive on. So when you are bringing in these good, nice projections, I wonder to say, a common Ugandan who is listening to Patrick Kamara presenting, would say, are you living in Uganda or you are living abroad? Let
me bring in here another giant of Uganda, a development consultant, Dr. Paul Chalimpa. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening.
It's a pleasure.
I can imagine you must have listened to the State of the Nation address, or perhaps you have seen the speech because it's beginning to go around. The president, in my view, was very optimistic. He gave a very positive view of the economy, of the country, of the stability. What do you make of today's State of the Nation address?
One, from his introductory remarks, he notes that the government has put a strong foundation for economic growth. I think to a large extent correct, looking at the key drivers of economic growth. One, peace stability. You can compare Uganda with the rest of the region, from South Sudan to DR Congo, and leaving around a few of these other like Kenya and Rwanda. And Also, looking at the infrastructure, government has invested heavily in agriculture. The road network, we have it. When you look at power generation, there's a gap there only in terms of efficiency to reduce the cost of power. Recently, the government has taken over Meme. What we want to see is how it transforms that into low costs of power, improve efficiency. If you look at the other drivers, like oil and gas exploration, the stage at which we are is a foundation stage where the government should commercialize now and start the production of oil and gas. Now, let alone that, there are gaps or challenges in terms of for how long should we be on this strong foundation. We need to kick off. There's a minimal kick-off which has happened, but the level of commercialization and competitiveness of Ugandan enterprises, let alone even the government service delivery models in terms of efficiency, in terms of the depth of these programs. For example, if you go to PDM, which is a Master Poverty Reduction or Transformation Program, it is supposed, for example, if asked anybody who is a recipient, now, if if for example you are dealing, if you want to have the chicken for the eggs, the question is, how many are you in a parish, so that you can be able to put this together to have the quantities required by the market to command a competitive price and satisfy the regular supply requirement of the market. Now, if you support one person who is dealing in the layers as their project, can this person actually make enough for the market requirements? You will find definitely no. Now, you have isolated interventions, not organized interventions. Two, do we have value addition for some of these products? So then, besides accessing the local markets satisfactorily, because if you do the mapping of the local markets, you'll find in the same area where someone is having the chicken for the eggs, which is the layers, there are other people from other regions actually who are supplying there. The demand is not fulfilled. And then the other person, what the capital requirements, what is investing in, lasts maybe only a year or 2 years, and that project collapses.
Very quickly, Jarvis here seemed to have said at the very beginning that yes, you can bring this money to the parish development model, but you're also bringing it to a people who are very poor, in some cases the people who are hungry. Instead of them investing it in what you expected them to do, they're actually going to stock portion beans. But where do you get this, Papa Jarvis?
I think I like Doctor. The submission is theoretical, because we need to go back to our villages. Mr. Kamara, you've attended parties and weddings in the villages. You can tell the hunger from the way how people even feel like they have to throw themselves in the saucepans of food. That should tell you what is happening at home. I don't know how many. I want you to do an example in your LC1 village, whether it is a municipality, whether it is a town council, whether it is a local village. Just buy posho, put it on a truck, and you make a previous announcement that people who need posho kindly come on my door. You would know what is happening. That would be a fight. For me, what I want us to look at the state of the nation. The state of the nation should be our state of roads, our state of our household incomes, our state of how many people are borrowing to take children to school.
Income, if you have a government that has injected 3-point-something trillion in the last 3 years in rural Uganda, that is something. Or if you if with 0 to 100 billion in every parish across the country.
Kamara,
that is something, Jarvis.
You have said you have invested close to 3.1 trillion. How many Ugandans do we have? How many Ugandans are feeding on the 3.1 trillion? With the corruption we have in the country.
But this money goes direct to the beneficiaries.
Recently, the president has been going to regions, trying to preach and enhance and activate the parish development model. What are the issues he has found out himself? Many people have gone to jail because of eating parish development model money. He has realized that even 1 million is not enough for the startup, because how many goats are you going to buy? And then the person who's going to buy goats is hungry. The children have not gone to school. He's going to buy a goat for parish development model program. Tomorrow he sells it because the school fees, where he borrowed money for school fees, they're going to take it. I want us to go back to say, where we are giving these people actually money to go and practice this agriculture, they don't even have that land there. The land was fragmented a long time ago. Someone has a plot of 50 by 100. He has a house, and you are telling him to say, let us practice poultry farming, let us practice coffee growing. And many people have actually grown coffee.
All right. Mr. Jarvis Asiimwe and Dr. Chalimpa, gentlemen, we're going to take a break, and the hot seat will be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the hot seat. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest this evening, I have a development consultant, Dr. Paul Chalimpa. I have a budget expert and financial advisor, Mr. Jarvis Atwine, and we're going through the State of the Nation address as was presented by President Yoweri Museveni at the ceremonial grounds in Kololo this afternoon. And you could somehow agree in some areas of not agreeing. But, sometimes when the president speaks, sometimes you need to listen to him once and maybe in 5 years, because the speech is usually the same. In my view,
that's true.
the speech is usually the same. But this time around, I give it to him. There were some new things to hear about.
New things?
Yeah.
Talk about, just raise one.
Yeah,
which has not existed.
The projections we were talking about, for example, him moving around and to see to inspect the PDM, how it is performing.
I'm happy that the aspect of him going around and he sees how hard it is to implement. And I think I was talking to one of the LOC5 chairperson that when he was coming they were given short notice, and they had to look around to see how to pick one person who has been successful. But that person used his own money to put up that, not even PDM, to use it as a model. So I'm happy that the president moved around, and when he comes back, that's why he's talking about putting more money, because he's realized that 1 million is not enough even to set up a structure to rear goats, as the doctor was saying when we were in the break. When you are to do agriculture, people have gone into coffee farming, for example, and now what are they ignoring? They're ignoring cassava, matoke, that puts food on their plate on a daily basis. And they've ended up to say coffee has market, but then you get money out of coffee, you go to buy food, posho, to feed the family. I'm happy. The only thing that I would be happy about is putting up these model schools. But then I have a challenge of listening to the news here telling me that teachers are going on strike, the arts teachers. Now those kids, where are they going to be? Because many subjects are arts to be, a few are science. So to me, Kamara, when we want to bring in a model of saying that what we have experienced, not what has been read to us, is what we should discuss, so that a common Ugandan can understand whether the state of his nation, the state of his village, the state of his community, the only thing I can say 100%, I would say, security-wise, apart from this, security-wise, give them Museveni 100%. They've done a tremendous job in trying to keep the country safe. That's what we enjoy. The freedom to a bit speak, it could be there. When you hear from other places, they will tell you that there is no human rights.
Okay. Dr. Chalimpa, you're a development consultant. Has there been a country in the region or even beyond that has actually given wananchi money direct into their pockets, just like this in PDM? Because it looks like probably it has implementation issues, but the idea was grand.
In my view, I think what we need to do is first to appreciate that this facility that gives the opportunity to the poor person or small, low-income earner is available. Two, what we need to do is to activate our local governments, especially the commercial office and the entire technical team on the ground to support the local people, to prepare them adequately so they can utilize this money available either to back up the existing enterprises or to set up appropriate enterprises where this money can make impact. I was giving the example during the break of if you're having the goats, with the 1 million, you can be able to buy a goat at 250. You'll be able to buy 4. Even if you bought 3, and then you are able to multiply this. Later, you put up the shelter for the animals, and using the approach of start small, then you grow big. Now, the other part is how to build impact with the little money. How do you do that? That if you have people who have small projects, but there are many of them, and they are showing quality, they can be able to pull the products together and then be able to be viable for commercialization.
Maybe to interject in a bit, I wanted to bring in a model of saying, before this goes to individuals in the community, in the LLCs, sure. What if I first put farm model, for example, this model is practiced by a few people in the sub-county, for even a local person to go there and they learn on how these people are doing it, than bringing it to a person to say, this is money for you, go and start something. Do you think this person has been educated enough, has been given enough information before he comes for the money and to go and start up? Or this is something you are saying, get the money, go and look for something you can do. Can you do coffee? Can you do anything? Because this is little money. When you are starting, first put up model of education. How are these people going to be informed? What are the challenges that they could face by setting up this? So when they go to this sub-county model, they call them model farms, they learn some techniques that next time when they are going to apply, there is a model that they are looking at. Let me go and see Kamara's farm on how he's doing it. Do we have those ones that have been implemented by government to say we have key role models in each sub-county that we have identified and we have funded, and they have taught others on how to practice this? Otherwise, by the time you realize that things have gone berserk, money has already been eaten, the one you gave to an individual.
Maybe practically, since for me, I've been from the village.
Okay.
And I'm setting up a small dairy facility. I've moved around and I've appreciated the following. One, we have model farmers who have been supported by Ministry of Agriculture, by government, to put up the right sheds, to have the right stocking, to have the feeds, and feed, how to put up the facility, how to make the feeds. And then some of them have been given improved breeds. Now, these are models, and also they have irrigation system which they co-fund, through co-funding. Now, the number of them who have been supported by government. Then we have farmers who are, for example, one of them who deals it in Chile, Squamawich, and they said to Nakasero here. So they have been supported by government with irrigation system to make sure they produce all year round. So these are some of the models which may have seen physically present in Chibale district, in Uyanja. So these are there, the model farmers are there. And also the Ministry of Agriculture, 2 years ago, this 1 year or 2 years ago, advertised to have the nucleus farmers, the big farmers, who are being given support in order to help the smaller farmers to learn from them, but also to do the pooling of their outputs. For example, this chili farmer, Sumawich, and all this vegetable farmer has other smaller farmers.
Looks like outgrowers also.
Yes, who do irrigation and helps them to sell to Nakasero.
To raise the volume.
And this last year I helped him to come and to look at a big truck here, which is able to deliver to Nakasero. This is very important, and it is happening. Maybe in some of the some people have not gone to the villages where this is happening. Now, the only challenge, maybe what we need to do to address, is after this support is provided, there are few how regularly and what technical support do the local government extension workers give to these people so that they can help them expand. Then two, can we do value addition, for example, for the chili to the export markets?
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to take another quick break, and the hot seat will be. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the hot seat. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Jarvis Atwine, budget expert and financial advisor, and Dr. Paul Chalimpa, development consultant. And we are reacting on the State of the Nation address as was presented today by President Yoweri Museveni. You know, Paris development model, yes, you give people money and probably you select for them some enterprises, or they select for themselves. A majority of them probably will go into maize and things like this. But what is going to be a game changer is if you are able to add some value on your produce. How are we doing this, Dr. Chalimpa?
Looking at Uganda, traditionally, even during colonial times, during Obote time, and even now, we were very strong in terms of coffee export. Our challenge and the key strengths now and also challenges have been in having the improved breeds, multiplication, but also the coffee wilt, the disease, being able to prevent the pests. And then when there's extreme climate, there have been effect on the weather of our is affecting the productivity of coffee. Now, the other general challenge with coffee is the coffee market politics. The international markets there who consume the coffee have gazetted and protected the consumption of coffee, and therefore determine how much price they buy from us, and have their companies here on the ground. But nonetheless, if as the government is financing the coffee research, Nakuri, that we hope that there will be an improvement in terms of the varieties which are resistant to pests and to weather, but also availability of the breeds we need across different regions in the country. Now, one of the things that the ECDA was doing, I hope to continue to be done, is to be able to know how many farmers are producing coffee and what is the production capacity for planning, in terms also of value addition. Recently, we have seen there is one gentleman who is being supported by government to add value to coffee. There was this coffee run. You heard of it, Kamala? Mm-hmm. So now, we are waiting for that pilot in terms of value addition. How is it going to be a game changer in terms of coffee value addition, in terms of consumption of coffee? Because here the culture, the uniqueness is the culture in terms of coffee consumption. Because of our weather, we rarely take coffee. But we hope that now, when it is produced here, we want to see how can we market this coffee, how do we brand it uniquely, so that at least in the region and Africa, we can have this Ugandan coffee. Now, the thing is that we all need to be patriotic, as the President indicates. We consume it, we taste it, it is good, we promote it to everybody. There should be a beginning point. We should not always think negatively that here you cannot produce, you cannot have a coffee soil plant, have our coffee and market it to other countries. Let's see this, but let's support it, the most important, how it can move. Now, there are unique sectors like fish sector, because we have a lot of water bodies. Our challenge has been protection of these water sources, water bodies, where we can have the fish grow, and then we do the multiplication along the within the bigger water bodies like lakes, Kalbat, Lake Victoria, etc. Now we have had the fishing practices of using these nets which sweep all the younger fish. There has been enforcement with security. We hope now they will be like restocking and boost the the fish export market. That is very lucrative, where you can get a lot of value for government. Now my challenge is simple. Who are those who have the fish factories, processing factories? We want to have a lot of this revenue retaining within the country. Even when we're talking about the coffee export, can we give control in terms of what percentage, in terms of shareholding and ownership of those who are exporting the coffee beans? Because you find most of them are foreign companies and they are fully owned by the foreigners. Now, that is a challenge.
Sorry, Kamara, I think interjecting from there, the president has talked about that the reason why the price of meat has gone high is because we have opened up or foreign markets for to the Arab world. My question would be in protection. How are you protecting a Ugandan earning poorly and is going to buy a kilogram of meat? I'm sure tomorrow is Eid, it's going to go for 20 or 20 for beef. And now I'm saying, do we have a policy that protects to say that regardless of us exporting, the nationals have a benefit to say they have to consume? The challenge I've seen with Uganda is when there is an opening for coffee out there, a Ugandan is going to almost buy it like the same price almost like over foreign market. I'm also looking at milk. Right now in Kabad, it's hard to have a glance of a cup of milk. Reason being, most of milk is exported to Rwanda. And Irish, actually, I was telling someone that the price of the standard of living in Kabad is very expensive. So I think these models are very nice, but then they end up saying that Uganda produces a lot of milk, but Ugandans buy it expensively. We produce a lot of sugar, but we are buying it expensively, more than $1. We no longer have barriers on fuel coming in the country. We are still paying high prices. My call to government or those listening: how best can we protect local consumers in buying these items at a cheaper price?
Maybe here let's look at the economics in terms of economic policy approaches you employ. If you have free market system, the forces of demand and supply manage or regulate each other. Government has minimal come in at honest critical intervention. For example, if here we have the price of meat.
But you're talking about free market, yet you were worried about the coffee exporters, some of them being foreigners, you know.
And there must be regulation. How do you regulate?
If it is a free market, then
yes,
let it be.
And the free market does not mean completely free. There's some specific form of regulation. In terms, for example, if you talk about ownership and control.
Maybe, Doctor, I wanted to have a question there. You are in a capitalistic economy, and you are a government that you are saying you are giving people money to improve their household income. How do you encourage now competitiveness when now government is saying now we have to bring money to individuals? Where in the world do we see money being given, cash out to individuals to set up some income generating activities? Honestly, somewhere to say, we picked this model from somewhere and we've seen it work. Where has it worked?
I would say, for example, I was in Sweden, and first of all, maybe the way the money or these resources are accessed by those who intend to access them is what differs. But in Sweden, for example, if you have set up an enterprise, government gives you support. But what support does it give? It gives you the support in kind. Now,
it doesn't
the uniqueness, that is the uniqueness. Now they look at what you need, and then government subsidizes the provider who is a national facility or industry.
After he has been verified,
yes,
and they said he qualifies for this,
you get that
by
support.
the commercial office of the district, by the commercial office at the sub-county, and he has said Kamara is good at this. If supported, he can be better.
Now, in this respect,
but now for a local person where you are giving 1 million to go and practice,
and this 1 million is a loan, right? It's not a grant.
It's even it makes it worse even to say that it is even a loan. You are loaning someone, for example, who has no potential, the capacity to pay back, and you are saying take it and see how you can invest it.
I thought it is the enterprise you have selected that is looked into its viability.
The
viability of the enterprise.
The model is that
to be able to pay back.
The model is that each family must get the money.
I thought it's supposed to be a viable economic enterprise.
Actually, from the district local governments, from the commerce office, all the enterprises are assessed when these people make the applications, and there are visits which are made by even the sub-county community development team and the district level to verify the enterprise, what you are involved in, and to confirm to you that most of these beneficiaries actually belong to groups, but the individual beneficiary benefit. They're already involved in some these economic activities, and most of the sources that they get the 1 million you talk about is a boost to existing enterprise. Very few of them actually start up new enterprises. Now, as I've said, what we need maybe to focus on is that how can we do the value addition to complete the entire value chain in terms of ensuring that we have a number of them, although they are small, but when they put their products together, they can accumulate and have bigger volumes, which are attractive to the market and competitive. Okay. 2, how do we help them with NBS to do certification for the S mark, for the SMEs? 3, how do you help them access local markets and regional markets?
If you asked me my contribution on that, to say how it would have been parish development model, I would think that it is important that when you move into a parish, like your parish,
yes,
and you find this gentleman who has got some good land and he has been empowered, that he can even employ the locals and they get something out of it, not only food, but also get some income working in that very farm that he has been supported by government. I think for me it would be a model that work. We come here not to criticize what the government has not done, but we also give our ideas to say this can work out in a parish whereby we find that land is fragmented in the western part of Uganda, for example. If we put up someone has 10 acres and he has been supported by government and is employing over 500 community members in that very farm, they don't only get salaries, but also there is a portion of food they get. That would be good.
Gentlemen, let me open the lines here, if the producer allows that, so that we have to involve other Ugandans who are listening to us tonight. You pick up your phone and call us. Probably you listen to the president, or probably you've read the State of the Nation address speech that is circulating now. What do you make of this State of the Nation address? Call us now and let us see your voice be heard, because you too, you might, and so we want you to have your say. In the meantime, if people have, because largely most people have gone into maize, and I'm wondering what kind of okay, let me take some callers right now.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Lawrence from Mukono.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Kamal, I want to thank you for always giving it back to us.
All right.
And we also make a contribution. I personally speaking, I'm a guy who grew up in a family where there was a parish chief. And the dad used to engage into those activities like the lads remember that time. But what I can tell you, as the children, I did not got involved in do that because I was in town. But when they got this parish development model, I tried also to go there and get engaged in that. But right now, I'm getting to learn how someone can really settle down and do an activity which is productive. And I'm doing somehow well. I'm going to talk about this issue of like the president saying that the economy is growing. Actually, if we go into figures and the different documents, there you can see that it is going up. But down, the local man, there is something lacking where the government needs to do a lot. Like, okay.
Well, thank you for your submission there. I'm still opening the lines so that I get to hear your views. Call us and tell us what you think. And in case you disagree, that's okay. Just remember to disagree with respect. I'm sure you have listened to the president, or maybe you have read the speech. But it's going to be earlier before the caller came in. I was saying majority of the people are going to maize, and I'm wondering if we really get like a bumper harvest of maize. Of course, the prices will go down. And if people don't get out money like they expected, they literally burn their fingers, they will never get back into farming. So we have to be very careful.
You've seen it in Busoga. Busoga, people cut farms for coffee and food crops, and they had to grow sugarcane. When sugarcane had issues, people were suffering of hunger, and they were telling government we cannot feed on sugarcane.
All right, let me pick another call. I have a call online. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
This is Ken from Chebando.
Ken in Chebando, go right ahead, you're on air.
Yes, what I wanted to say about, to comment about the presidential address. Definitely, if we could play the previous year address, we could even see that it is the same, more or less the same, because every time they are repeating the same thing, and mostly the thing we are hearing is only comparing what is happening today and that one of 1986 only, because you cannot take the country backward only comparing 1986. The country must go forward. So there is no way you can compare something just with the past. No, we have to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But it's true, the president sometimes will not hesitate to throw in the 1986 when we came here. I have a call online. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Patrick.
Good evening. This sounds like America Code.
Yes, sir. Thanks for that, sir.
You're welcome. Go right ahead, sir.
A quick one. Whenever, from my observed one thing, whenever we are going to the national address towards the elections, the general election, most of the things are not done in the required time. Because most of the means that the people are supposed to implement these things, they be running to the constituencies to campaign to be elected back in the offices, and the work which they are supposed to do, they are not done in the time frame. Then finally, today you ask yourself in agricultural things, a local person down there like me, I have my questions. Why is sugar increasing? And yet we have good factories which manufacture these products.
The question on the sugar is, why are we having so much of it, and yet we are begging our neighbors to buy the sugar? Yes, we have a call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Very good evening to you, Mr. Patrick Kamara. My name is Robert. I'm calling from Kira.
Robert, you are loud and clear. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Patrick, I have something to say about Mr. President's word.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I would love to say about how he was comparing 1980s, 86 to now. Talking about financially, Uganda was around 40-something billion. Now it's getting bigger and bigger, like 5 times. We are growing and we are moving forward. Actually, we deserve to have that economy. More than that.
It's more.
That is number one. Number two, I want to talk about the price increases. When you look at Uganda as a nation, 90% of us, we benefit from our fertile soil given by God the Creator. As I speak to you, Mr. Kamara, I am practicing commercial agriculture.
Okay.
That is because I have failed to get a job for my profession. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, when you come to my farm right now, before I used to sell a piece of sack of sweet potato at 40,000. But today, I'm giving it to you at 90. Okay?
Okay. You're making a kill.
Why is it that? Are we clear?
You're smiling all the way to the bank, which is a good thing.
It is really a good thing, yes, but when you look at in other areas, we are also not supported.
Okay. In the interest of time, we're only going to stop there, and we have also run out of time here in the studio. So I'm going to give my guests, each one of them, half a minute to give their concluding remarks. And for you, I'm just reading something here that's coming online. I didn't know, Dr. Chalimpa, that you had actually picked nomination papers. Somebody is sending me on the NRM Electoral Commission to contest in the primaries for Buyanja.
Sure.
In Kibale.
Sure.
You're taking on a big one.
That is for also the big people. The big task.
So you are a big person indeed.
No. You have taken the challenge.
So Jarvis, you're parting short in 30 seconds, and then he does.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamara, and to the listeners, I'm only looking at the budget. The president's speech is talking about the revenue collection. We are going to collect. He's projecting 31 trillion. We are looking at the budget of over 70 million. And 70 trillion. I'm sorry about that. But then I'm asking, the balance is going to come from internal borrowing and external borrowing. It is a worry for me if we want to grow the economy, as he was saying. Okay. And I'm happy that the projections that are being made, we should continue to internalize them, enlighten the government, and maybe we also give them a wake-up call, not just to criticize them, wake-up call for them to do better.
Thank you so much. Dr. Chalimpa, you're parting short in 30 seconds.
Thank you. One is that if we implement the FOICA model successfully, it can transform our country. We just need to make filling those gaps. Also, for those who are talking about the increasing prices of various products or items in Uganda, this is an opportunity for those who are ready for the competitive market.
All right.
Uganda is a world of opportunities. Let's take them up.
Dr. Paul Chalimpa, development consultant, thank you so much. Mr. Jarvis Atwine, budget expert and financial advisor, I want to thank you, gentlemen. You've been phenomenal tonight. And I've also learned Dr. Chalimpa is throwing in himself into the Buyanja County constituency contestation for power. You seem to want to take Matia Kasai John from the hot seat here where we sit. We wish you luck.
Age cannot lie. It has caught up with him. Let's take on the new energies.
Talk slowly about age. Good night and God bless you guys.